The 1980 Cal women's crew team embarked on a journey not unlike any other team that season. They worked hard, spent time with friends, and enjoyed Berkeley. But this particular year would change UC Berkeley's history forever. There were a lot of new changes during the season, but these young Bears were ready for anything. A hard-working and close-knit group, they took on any challenge thrown at them.
When I joined in 1977, I think the team had only been around about 2 years. And when I joined, it was still a young team.
I transferred to Cal, so I went to college in San Diego, and I just waited till I could transfer to Cal because I just really wanted to row there.
I come from basketball back to rowing, so I had a whole year gap between my freshman year and the national champion year.
Mueller and I were roommates, and
Yep.
I was a gymnast, so I showed up. And somebody didn't show up to Cox, and Dave looked at me and said, can you follow instructions, and can you pull this and go left and pull this and go right? So he put me in a boat, and I coxed. I came to watch a workout, and I coxed the boat, and that was how I started in rowing.
Some of the older team members that had been there the first 2 years had now graduated and moved on, and so this was a younger group. And we meshed and we swung, and it was great.
We had just gotten a new coach for that year, Pat Sweeney. And we were doing things that we hadn't done before, just workouts that we hadn't done. Taking our resting heart rates was something we hadn't done so that he could see how fatigued we were. Although he never seemed to let up on the workouts, so I don't know if he used our heart rates very much.
And he had that crazy accent, and he brought crazy terminology with him.
All I knew, I was walking into a group that was pretty well motivated, so it wasn't that difficult a job. It was a lot of fun because it was just say do this and they did it, do that, they did it, and it was like this lot of wacko. They're doing anything you tell them to do. So that's how it started, and it was a good group.
Nanette Bernadou, Katie Stone, Renee Russick, Joy Stockton, Leanne Cox, Barb O'Neill, Nancy Dennison, Kathy Mueller, and Alice Lee seem to have the magic recipe for speed.
The thing about this group, they all had a chip on their shoulder. They were having fun with it, but they had a chip on their shoulder and something to prove. And it was like, okay, if I just wind them up, they should go. And that's how we really did it.
I mean, we were working, and we tried to get these split times down, and we just couldn't do it. And then I don't remember how soon before the racing season it all came together. I swear, after that, it was like, we were just like one going down that course. I felt like it was just nirvana. I mean, the most perfect high you could ever have.
That's the beauty of what we achieved, is we could get in that boat, the 8 of us plus Nan, and swing that boat, and we flew. And that's what made it a team, that camaraderie. And it wasn't anybody else. Nobody else could have gotten in that boat and made that happen. It was just us.
On a hot, muggy day in late June 1980, the Cal women's crew team prepared to compete at the first ever Women's Collegiate Championship in Oak Ridge, Tennessee.
I wasn't nervous. It was just really I thought they were well prepared. They were ready to go. And I felt pretty confident they were going to do the job.
It was a really very tension-filled day because we got on the water to warm up and the race got put off by, I don't know why exactly. I don't remember exactly what happened. Maybe there was a crash in the race before or something. But instead of getting off the water and putting our boat down, the coach just asked us to row into the shade and hold on to the side of the bank. So we rowed into some shade, and we just sat there holding on to the weeds and the trees on the side of the bank.
Where I was standing was about 1,000 meters into it, and they were actually leading by a good amount in the middle of the race. And I think Oregon State came back on you.
I think we had to sort of like gather ourselves, and then like the last 20 strokes was just like a fog. I mean, everybody was just sort of
out their limit.
It was a photo finish that took quite some time to confirm.
We were just sitting out there waiting. Nobody was moving. We were like looking around. Dan's like, I don't know, you guys. I don't know. And then Swing came running up.
The Cal Bears edged out the Oregon State Beavers by a narrow margin, winning the first ever national title for collegiate women's rowing and making history at UC Berkeley as winning the first women's team national championship in the university's history.
I thought it was cool, but I didn't grasp the meaning of what that was for women at Cal or setting a precedent for the teams that came after us.
I didn't realize the strength of it, what it meant. It's just that we won a really hard race. It was really hard, but it was also a proving ground that doing all the things we were told to do manifested in the win. And that's what Pat told us to do. He says, if you do this, you will win.
This didn't really sink in right away for me either, but over the years, it sort of sunk in more and more. And I've just been so close to this team since then. And just really a life-changing experience.
When you achieved the milestones along the way, that was like amazing. To me, it was like, I'm not physically able to do this, like those stadium stairs, and then the running, and then you do it, and you're like, wow, it's almost liberating, because then you feel like you could do anything.
Certainly, I didn't realize that we were the first women's crew to have won a national championship for Cal, but Llewellyn Lilly sealed that deal that day. And we all got beautiful notes from her, and it made it that much more special.
The skills, the transferable skills of rowing on a team where you have to not only be your best for everybody else, but everybody is being their best for you. That's something that most people don't get to experience. Every stroke you take, if you're not taking it, it's not, it's either perfect slop or it's perfect, one of the two. It's every single time you take a stroke with your teammates, it's for the greater good. And that many strokes, that many hours, that many years changes everything for everybody.
In 2001, the 1980 Varsity 8 was inducted into the Cal Athletics Big C Society Hall of Fame. At the ceremony, the lineup reunited for the first time in many years to embark on a reunion row at Brioni's.
So this is the first time you've rowed together?
Oh, yeah. 20 years. 20 years.
Right. Since you won the national championship. Right?
Thank you. That's nice of you.
You look great.
Thanks, Robert!
It's been over 40 years since this team made history, but the memory for these Bears is just as vivid as it was in 1980. These lifelong relationships built on the foundation of the most competitive, team-oriented sport continue to flourish. Although our Cal Bears have won many championships since 1980, these women were the first.